Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. I wanted to do a quick video about something I'm working on that is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's the first step in what I hope will be a multiple app suite, I guess, for my fictional sports universe, which is called Figment. And I've mentioned this on the channel before, so some of you may be familiar with it. Certainly the ones who are into the sports stuff probably would be at least aware of this. I mostly talked about the baseball league, which I run using out of the park baseball. But, I wanted to add other sports, and because I'm currently in the early 20th century, there really aren't any real digital simulations or even tabletop ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, I could be wrong there, and there probably are that I'm just not aware of them. But I really wanted to do other sports besides baseball. So I elected to try and create my own soccer simulation, or as we call it, or as I call it here, it's the football simulator. And I wanted it to be basically built on English football. And so I built this app, which is still in development, but it's come a long way and it's close to what I would deem ready to actually be used by me. Now, before I go any further, I want to say that I do not currently, and I stress currently, have plans to provide this to the public, sell it, give it away, any of that stuff. That could change, but for now, given everything I have going on in my life, I don't feel like I would have the bandwidth to properly support it. And so I don't want to give it out and have people have problems with it and be unhappy and all that stuff. Right now, I'm going to use it for myself, for my league. That does not mean that I would not be able to give people access to the web side of this. It just means that I would not be giving them their own copy of this to run a league. And the website will be uh, designed to allow people to run their own team. Now, I've built this out so that it can simulate English football all the way back to the very beginning and all the way up to the kind of probably 90s or so, late 80s, 90s, before before a lot of the transfer movement and internationalization of the player pool, because then things become extremely complex. And if you want that, you can play Football Manager. So this is more of a historical thing to kind of go through the first, say, century of English football starting in 1888. It's going to have multiple tiers, just like English football did. It's going to have a pause for the world wars, just like English football rather did. And the style of the game will change over time as well. So I just kind of wanted to go through this. So as you can probably see, this is the overview page. It's very simple. There's not a lot to it yet. I am still adding features and things, but the core gameplay loop is set up. It works pretty well. And I'm pleased with where it is, pleased enough that I wanted to show you this, because at some point I will be making it available for people to join my Figment universe and participate in this, as well as anything else I may develop. Now, you can already participate in baseball. I've offered that up before to the channel viewers, and nobody's ever taken me up on it, which is fine. Everybody's got their own likes, dislikes, and this is still primarily a wargaming YouTube channel. Sports and role-playing games are also featured, but so far at least to a lesser extent. So, having said all that, this is the football simulator, as you can see up here. We only have 5 things here on the menu so far, and this would be what you would use to run the league itself. If you were playing in the league as a, let's call it general manager, coach, whatever you want to call it, a participant running a team or a club, then you would be using a different interface to do that. This interface is solely for the person running the league. So, having said all that, let's go through some of what's in here. So as I said, you've got an overview here, main page. We have a table which shows you, of course, the standings, right, as we would say here in the US. You'll ultimately have all of your leagues in here, and it will tell you which one is live. So if I were in 1923, for example, 23-24 season, let's say, and I had begun in 1888, then you would have this list would show a drop down showing all of the seasons, and you could go back and see your history. Right? You can click on one of the clubs, but I'm not going to get into that yet. I'll show you the clubs here in a bit. And it also shows you anybody who would be relegated. Now, right now, this is the first season. There is no lower division yet, but the second division will be coming along very soon. If you're familiar with English football history, I've set it up to basically follow that structure in terms of the number of teams per level and the number of levels, just so that we get kind of a historical track, even though the teams, the players, the grounds, all that stuff is going to be fictional. And you have your fixtures, which would be schedule to Americans. We would say schedule. But this is the list of the league fixtures in terms of match days. And so you can see, and for games that have already been played, of course, you do have the scores. And for plays that have not, you just have a list. For games that have not, I mean matches. Right? And you can click on here and get the basic box score, basic information about the game. Who took shots, how many of those were on target. For the goaltenders, you would get their saves, etc. Right? So this would be one side, and you can switch. I forget how you switch. I designed it and I don't remember how you switch. But anyway, oh, actually, this is both teams. So you just get kind of the top level. Well, you get the scorers and I guess the best netminder. Anyway, right? Because yeah, I don't know why we don't have the second netminder here. But you can see the scorers as well, match events, right? These are the goals. And again, this is still being developed. I do want to kind of flesh this out a little bit. We will track cards once cards become a thing, which they're not yet. And you can see you've got the total number of shots and on target and corners and all that stuff, right? So we are modeling early football, which is nowhere near the same kind of game as they play today. But you get a general idea of what this is like. You can click that to go back, and you have your club list. And the color is just kind of the main color for the team. Nothing to do with anything kind of performance rating or anything like that. Accrington just has red as its main color. And then you have leaders, and we're only 3 games in, so you're not going to have a ton of things, but you can see we've got 3 players here who have 3 goals. The number of games they've played, their number of shots, and how many were on target. You can click on them and you'll get kind of their information. I put basic bio info in here in terms of height and weight, age, date of birth, positions that they play, and what the kind of level of aptitude they might have at those different positions, and what nation they came from. And you also have the ability to edit the player if you are, like I am, in charge of the league. You can see their traits here and their personality ratings, which are not displayed anywhere else but in this particular thing here. This is kind of behind the scenes. Here's their attributes. It's all kind of behind the scenes stuff that helps determine. Now, the attributes are visible, and you can see bars here that kind of represent their skill. Contracts, that's another phase that will be added a little bit later on, but you get an idea of what the player state currently looks like. Okay, so if we go back to our overview, we have world and league settings. That's pretty basic. We can also edit that from here. You can set the date if you want, or it will automatically kind of figure out a reasonable approximation of what date you should be at based on the year and the number of matches that have been played or match days that have passed. You can name it, of course, and give it kind of a short name, how many points you get for a win and all that stuff, right? Very basic kind of identifying stuff. Now, if we go to the club, you get, of course, the list of players, the position, their main position, their nationality, which is going to mainly be English or Scottish at this point, the age, and then kind of their ratings in terms of overall. Now, this is designed currently to have the ratings be based on universal ratings. So in terms of athleticism and ability, because of the way things have evolved and, you know, better nutrition and training and all that stuff, players from today would have much higher ratings than these guys do. And that's not throwing shade on these old timers. These are all fictional guys anyway. But just kind of the way I decided to go with this. So it's not like you can take a team from 1985, transport it back to 1888, and have them play each other, and the 1985 team not win, because they would. Most likely, let's put it that way. Now, you can also click on any of the players and go to their player page, right? So the goaltenders do have different, or goalkeepers, they have different attributes than the outfield players would. And you can also edit them and assign a photo. I did assign a photo to that first player we showed. But to do that, we just click on this, and then it would let you search your file system to add an image. Go back to the clubs. They have their own crest that they'll have like a default one, which is basically just two colors like you see here, but you can create your own and add it. They'll have a nickname as well. The name is basically fictional. It will suggest names for you, or you can create your own. So you do have that ability. Tells you where it's located, when it was established, the ground that they play on with its capacity, how old it is, and of course your staff, which at this point is just your manager. You can edit him as well. See how much he makes a week, start and end date for his contract, his status, and then again, ratings that are generally hidden. To users, none of that stuff would show up on the website, which I won't be showing today, but I will show that at some point in the future. If you edit the club, here's where you could change the name, the short name, the nickname, the colors, its prestige and reputation, the year it was founded, training facility status, youth facilities, the name of its grounds, and it's basically its statistics, right? So the year it opened, what its total capacity is, how many of those are seats as opposed to standing, the general condition and pitch quality, and then record attendance would be filled in by the system probably later on in the season. They may not have even played a home game yet. I don't know. But anything you can change here, and you can add a ground note for it. Why is it called Stony Lane? Named for the cobble lane running alongside, surrounded by foundries. Okay, so that is that. And I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show. I didn't want this to be overly long. I realize I tend to run off at the mouth, kind of. Once I start going, it's hard to turn me off, but I will be stopping here momentarily. Again, I just wanted to kind of show you guys what I'm doing here, aside from my actual real job and running my sports league and doing these videos and trying board games and learning the rules and having a wife and children. I have a fairly busy life, but all of this stuff kind of falls into the fun side of things. And I am a programmer by profession. I do this for a living, not this specifically. The stuff I work on is much more mundane. It's in manufacturing, so it's not quite as exciting as making your own, soccer or football, if you would prefer, simulation. But yeah, it's something I do off and on. This has been going on for months. And I mean, if this was my job, I could have probably done this in a couple weeks, but it's been spread out over months because I only spend a little bit of time on it per week. But like I said, I've gotten it to a point where I kind of wanted to show it off a little bit, so that's why I'm doing this video. It probably won't get much traffic, and that's fine. For those of you who are interested in this and want to see more, just let me know via comment. And like I said, when I launch this as an online league, it'll be at probably around the 1920 season or so. So it'll be more like modern-ish football. much more so than this. There'll be multiple levels and everything, and room for quite a decent number of members. So if you're interested in that, you can always just post a comment or shoot me an email. My email address is actually in the description of all my videos. It's near the bottom, but if you wanted to do so, you could do that. But I'm going to wrap it up for now. Thank you for watching. Shout out to my channel members. As always, I appreciate the support. I'm not sure if any of them will watch this, but if you do, here's a shout out. For everyone else, again, thanks for watching. If you have questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to offer them up. I'll do my best to take them into account. Part of the reason I did this was to show you guys this, so maybe you see something you think could be done better or whatever. Feedback is welcome. Let's just put it that way. Otherwise, yeah, I guess we're done. So I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered, and as always, until next time, happy gaming.